We live in a world that worships results. Everything you see, everything you scroll past, everything that's celebrated is the outcome. The before and after, the highlight, the finished product. No one shows the middle anymore. The boring, ugly, unshareable middle where real growth happens, and because of that, we've slowly forgotten how to love the process. We've stopped believing in effort that doesn't immediately pay off. We've been trained to measure our worth by outcomes, by numbers. Likes, trophies, and milestones, as if they define who we are. But the truth is, this obsession with results is slowly killing us, not physically, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. It's making us chase ghosts, invisible finish lines that move every time we think we've arrived. And when we can't keep up, we start believing something's wrong with us. We've built a culture that celebrates the destination but mocks the journey. Everyone wants success, but no one wants the process. We want to be strong, but we don't want to struggle. We want mastery, but we don't want repetition. We want peace, but we run from silence. The process, the actual act of doing the thing, has become a casualty of our obsession with instant validation. We've traded patience for performance, effort for attention, consistency for comparison. When did we stop valuing the unseen? When did we start believing that something only matters if people notice it? Maybe it started when progress became something to show off. Maybe when social media turned effort into content. Maybe when every small step had to be documented instead of simply lived. The sad truth is, we don't do things for ourselves anymore. We do them for proof. Proof that we're improving. Proof that we're enough. Proof that we're keeping up. But what if you stopped chasing proof? What if you accepted that real progress isn't visible? Not at first. What if the best things you'll ever build will take longer than you want? And maybe no one will even notice until it's done. That's the part no one talks about. The invisible, lonely, quiet grind. The kind of work that doesn't go viral. It's not glamorous. It's not inspiring. It's real, and that's why we avoid it. Because reality doesn't give instant feedback. Reality doesn't clap for every small effort. Reality doesn't flatter your ego. It confronts it. That's what the process does. It strips you of illusions. It forces you to meet yourself without applause, without validation, without filters. And that's terrifying for people who've built their identity around outcomes. Because once you take away the results, who are you? When there's nothing to show, nothing to post, nothing to prove, what's left? If you're not your achievements, then what are you? That silence, that emptiness, that's the real process. It's not the grind that breaks people. It's the lack of validation that makes them quit. The process doesn't reward you quickly. It doesn't tell you when you're close. It doesn't promise anything. It just asks one question. Every single day, will you show up again? And most people won't. Not because they can't, but because they've been programmed to believe that if results aren't visible, progress isn't real. But that's a lie, the biggest one we've ever been sold. Progress isn't loud, it's quiet, invisible, and often painful. It's not something you show, it's something you endure, and that's why the process is sacred. It doesn't care about your audience, it only cares about your commitment. You can't fake it. You can't post your way through it. You either do it or you don't. Most people don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because they can't tolerate the silence between effort and reward. They can't live without the dopamine of progress. They need to see results now, or they give up. And that's how the process dies, slowly, quietly, with no one noticing. You look around and everyone seems to be ahead of you. They're achieving, posting, sharing. Their timelines are filled with milestones, while yours is filled with unfinished work and quiet attempts that no one sees. And that's when the poison of comparison begins to spread. It's subtle at first, just a small thought. Maybe I'm behind. Maybe I'm not doing enough. Maybe I'm just not cut out for this. But comparison doesn't stop there. It grows. It feeds on your insecurities and your impatience. And soon, the process that once felt meaningful starts to feel worthless. You stop creating from passion and start performing for validation. You stop working for growth and start working for recognition. You start counting every step, every view, every number, as if they define your worth. And when the numbers don't grow, neither do you. That's the death of process, not when you fail, But when you stop believing that effort without proof still matters, you see, the process isn't dead because it disappeared. It's dead because we abandoned it. We replaced it with a performance. We built altars for our achievements and forgot that the gods we now worship are hollow. We live in a time where patience is punishment. If something doesn't happen fast, it's considered broken. If success takes too long, we move on. But nothing real comes fast. Nothing lasting is easy. Every skill, every craft, every transformation demands time. Time most people aren't willing to give anymore. We scroll through success stories and skip the silence that built them. We see the peak, not the climb. We see the final product, not the 1,000 failed drafts that led there. And because we only see results, we start believing the process is unnecessary. We forget that what you don't see is what actually matters. The late nights, the doubt, the boredom, the tiny improvements no one will ever notice, that's the process. And if you can't learn to love that, you'll never last long enough to reach anything real. Most people don't fail from lack of talent. They fail from lack of patience. They give up halfway, then tell themselves they weren't good enough. But that's not true. They were just too addicted to results to trust the invisible part of growth. And that addiction, it runs deep. It's not just mental, it's chemical. Every like, every milestone, every visible progress bar triggers dopamine. We've been rewired to crave the feeling of progress more than progress itself. We've been taught to believe that visibility equals value. But that's the trap. Because the more visible you make your process, the less sacred it becomes. The moment you start performing your growth, you stop actually growing. You start curating your effort, doing only what looks good, what feels impressive, what gets approval. And slowly, your process becomes a brand. Your passion becomes content. Your purpose becomes marketing. And in that transformation, you lose yourself. You forget the quiet voice that made you start. You forget why you began in the first place. You forget that you weren't supposed to impress people. You were supposed to become someone. It's strange, isn't it? We spend years trying to build a version of ourselves that looks successful to others. But in doing so, we abandon the real version that was trying to emerge through the process. We chase the image of growth instead of the experience of it. And that's why, even when we achieve the result, it feels empty. Because deep down, we know the truth. We didn't grow, we just arrived. Faster than we learned how to handle, yet we skipped the steps that would have made. The result means something. The result without the process is hollow. It's like reaching the top of a mountain you were airlifted onto. Beautiful view, but no story behind it, no scars, no lessons. Just a moment that fades as quickly as it came. The process is what builds you, not the result. The result just reveals who you became along the way. But when you kill the process, when you chase shortcuts, trends, and speed, you rob yourself of that transformation. You might win faster, but you'll feel emptier, and the world will applaud you anyway. Because the world doesn't care about depth, it cares about display. It rewards the loud, not the true. It crowns the visible, not the valuable. And that's why so many people who make it still feel lost. Because they got everything they wanted, but they don't know who they are without the chase. That's the cruel irony of the obsession with results. It never ends. The more results you get, the more addicted you become. The bar keeps rising, the dopamine keeps dropping, and the silence, the process, keeps fading away. There's a moment that hits you, quietly, almost without sound, when you realize you're not doing this for you anymore. You're doing it because you don't know who you are without the chase. You wake up, not to live, but to keep up. You open your phone before your eyes are fully awake, already measuring yourself against the world. You've become a number, a ratio, a reflection of your last visible win, and every time you achieve something, it feels smaller than it should because now, no result ever feels like enough. You used to dream of reaching a point where you could finally rest, but rest never comes. Because the moment you get there, your mind immediately moves the goalpost. Now it's not about doing your best, but it's about being seen doing your best. Now it's not about growth, and it's about relevance. You start living in fear of silence, of days when nothing happens, of moments that don't produce content or progress or applause, because silence feels like death in a world addicted to noise, and so you fill it endlessly with more plans, more projects, more pressure. But there's a cost. You start to feel hollow, not dramatically, not suddenly, but slowly. You feel it when you finish something and don't even feel proud. You feel it when you look at your work and it feels mechanical, like you're watching yourself perform. You feel it when you realize that every moment of rest feels like guilt instead of peace. That's the burnout no one talks about. Not exhaustion from work, but emptiness from disconnection. Because when the process dies, so does the part of you that was alive in it. You lose curiosity. You lose wonder. You lose that small flicker of joy that once made it worth doing, even when no one was watching. And you can't post your way out of that kind of emptiness. You can't motivate yourself out of a meaning crisis. You can't grind your way back into purpose. Because what's missing isn't effort, it's soul. You forgot how to be with your craft when no one's looking, how to work in silence without turning it into a story, how to sit with boredom until it turns into clarity, how to care more about the process than the prize. That's what the world took from you. And you let it, not because you're weak, but because you were told that visibility is survival, that if you're not seen, you don't exist, that if you're not growing publicly, you're falling behind. But the truth is the opposite. Grow most when you disappear for a while, when you stop performing and start listening. Again, when you return to the silence that built you in the first place. The quiet work, the kind no one claps for. That's where real transformation happens. That's where you become dangerous, not when you're visible, but when you're grounded, not when you're loud, but when you're steady. Because real growth doesn't announce itself, it reveals itself when it's ready. But you'll never experience that if you can't detach from the need to prove something. The process is uncomfortable. That's why it's real. It's slow, repetitive, and often invisible. But that's what makes it sacred. Because every repetition, every silent attempt, every private failure is building something the world can't see. Integrity. And that's the part success can't fake. It can buy attention, but not authenticity. It can display results, but not resilience. It can create noise, but not meaning. The process is where meaning lives. Lose that, and you lose everything. There comes a point when your body simply refuses to keep running on noise. You wake up one day, and the constant pressure doesn't feel powerful anymore. It just feels heavy. You scroll through the endless feed of motivation, success stories, productivity hacks, and it all starts sounding the same. Louder, faster, emptier. You realize you've been running in circles, chasing a version of yourself that never stops moving. That's when something quiet inside you whispers, what if I just stopped? Not quit, just stop performing. Stopped needing to show. Stopped measuring worth by progress. Stopped comparing my chapter to someone else's highlight reel. Just stopped. And in that pause, in that rare stillness, something changes. At first, it's uncomfortable. You feel like you're wasting time, like you're falling behind, but slowly, you start hearing, again, your thoughts, your instincts, the faint pulse of your real self underneath all that noise. You remember what it felt like to do something simply because you loved the doing, not because it made sense, not because it paid off, not because someone was watching, but because it made you feel alive. That's the process. The quiet rhythm of becoming, the work that no one sees, the repetitions that no one counts, the mistakes that no one celebrates. It's boring, it's slow, but it's real. And that's the kind of real most people are too distracted to experience anymore. Everyone wants results. Few can stand the silence it takes to build them. But the silence is where it all happens. It's where the truth returns, where patience grows, where discipline stops being punishment and starts becoming freedom. Because discipline, real discipline, isn't loud, it doesn't post, it doesn't perform, it just does. It's the quiet decision to keep showing up when no one claps. It's saying no to shortcuts that feel good but leave you empty. It's saying yes to the long game that feels hard but builds something solid. And once you taste that kind of peace, the noise loses its power. You stop caring about being first, fastest, or most visible. You start caring about being honest, consistent, grounded. You don't chase the high of validation anymore. You chase the calm of integrity. You don't need to prove that you're winning because you're already becoming. And that's when you realize you never needed motivation. You needed meaning. You never needed constant inspiration. You needed stillness. You never needed results to define you needed process to refine you. This quiet clarity is what Unhyped stands for. No noise, no filters, no fake urgency, just the raw, unfiltered process of becoming something real in a world addicted to pretending. Because maybe the real success isn't in being seen. It's in being at peace while no one's watching. At some point you realize all those years of chasing results didn't make you more alive. They just made you more tired. You were always reaching, but never arriving. Always improving, but never fulfilled. And when you strip it all back, the plans, the goals, the vision boards, the endless noise of progress, you're left standing in the quiet truth that you've been running away from yourself. We've been conditioned to believe that life is something we build, not something we feel. That progress is something we measure, not something we live. We've mistaken motion for meaning, and in that confusion, we've lost the ability to simply be. There's nothing wrong with wanting more. But when more becomes the only language you speak, you stop understanding the beauty of enough. You stop noticing how far you've come because your eyes are locked on what's still missing. You forget that every mountain you climb just reveals another one in the distance, and the higher you go, the thinner the air gets. The truth is, the finish line doesn't exist. Not the one they sold you, not the one you keep imagining. Because the moment you arrive, your mind will move the goalposts again. You'll think, just one more step, just one more milestone, just one more thing, and then before you know it, you've lived your entire life inside the waiting room of your own potential. That's the death of process, when you're so obsessed with arriving that you forget to inhabit the moments in between. Those quiet, unseen hours where the real transformation happens. That's where life actually is. Not at the top, not at the end, but right here in the repetition, in the ordinary, in the unnoticed rhythm of just showing up. And that's why the obsession with results is such a dangerous illusion, because it keeps you in a state of almost happy, almost free, almost enough, always reaching, never arriving. But what if you could let go of that grip? What if you could release the need to constantly prove something, even to yourself? What if success wasn't about growth, but about depth? What if being good enough wasn't a destination, but a decision? Imagine this for a second. You wake up one morning and you don't reach for your phone. You don't check how far behind you are. You don't count the views, the steps, the numbers, the likes. You just breathe. You just exist. You feel the weight of being human, the softness of it, the imperfection, the calm. And for the first time, that's not something you want to escape. From that moment, that quiet presence, is what every loud, motivational voice secretly envies but can't sell. They can't package peace. They can't monetize stillness. They can only sell you the chase. Because as long as you're running, you'll keep coming back. You'll keep watching, hoping this next video, this next book, this next strategy will finally make you feel complete. But completion isn't something you chase. It's something you allow. It's what happens when you stop needing to be somewhere else. And maybe that's the real rebellion in this world. To stop performing, to stop rushing, to stop being hypnotized by the constant narrative of more, to simply exist in your craft, in your process, in your quiet persistence, not because it will lead to results, but because it's yours, because it feels honest, because it feels alive. That's the truth we've forgotten. The process was never the price. It was always the point. The work, the struggle, the repetition, that is the life. Not the highlight reel, not the applause, just the raw experience of doing, creating, becoming. And when you realize that, you stop looking for miracles. You stop expecting instant transformation. You start to see that the slow, boring, invisible work, that's where all the real magic hides. That's where peace lives, not in the finish line, but in the step you're taking right now. And maybe that's what growing up really is. Not giving up on your dreams, just learning to live without needing them to validate you. You stop chasing what's next and start noticing what's now. You stop demanding progress and start building presence. You stop needing the world to see you and start finally seeing yourself. Because in the end, all the noise fades, the followers disappear, the hype dies, and all that's left is you, standing in the quiet, with the truth that you were never incomplete, you were just distracted. So if you're watching this, don't look for another burst of motivation. You don't need it. What you need is stillness, consistency. A slow, grounded return to the process that will shape you in ways no result ever could. This is Unhyped. No noise, no false urgency, no empty promises. Just the quiet work of becoming who you already are, one honest step at a time.